Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? Joey Sherkenbach is back here with another video for you guys. And, guys, today I wanted to give you a little bit of a draft preview for the Ravens because it is draft week this week. Kicks off Thursday, April 28th, and then there's a round on Friday, and the last final push on Saturday. So 3 days of it. Of course, day one is the most interesting because it's, of course, round one, and all of the top players go. All the top players are taken. So, pretty exciting week. And I want to give you guys a little preview about like what I expect the Ravens to do, some names that have been come up quite a bit for the Ravens, and where I think this will take us. And then, of course, next Sunday, probably Sunday, I will give a draft recap. I'll go over each player that we took, and I'll tell you how I feel about them and where I think we went wrong, or perhaps did everything correctly. Hopefully, we do everything correctly, and hopefully, we have a great draft. But just for a quick preview, should be a pretty quick one. But obviously, I would say heading into the draft, our top need has to be defensive line. In free agency, we perhaps solved some of the big issues. Coverage safety, of course, Deshaun Elliott, we officially lost him. Sadly, he signed with the Lions. We got Marcus Williams, who is a ball hawk free safety, a true free safety. So we're not going to be looking for a safety first. No, I would be shocked if we took a safety first. And there's been a lot of buzz about Trevor Penning, who's the top tackle prospect as far as I know. But there's also a lot of criticism of him just because of his play style. And he also gets called for holding a lot, and that may not fly with the Ravens. But at the same time, the Ravens have been linked to Trevor Penning quite a bit, so it's possible that we take him if he's available at 14. We pick at 14. We could trade back. We could trade up. I honestly think we stay at 14. I think that's the right choice, and I just don't see any reason to move unless we have someone that really catches our eye in that top 13 that we think we need to get trade up for, but I doubt that happens. I feel like we don't trade up that much, except for getting Lamar Jackson. We did do that, but in general, I don't think we're big on trading up, so we'll see what happens. But also, so Trevor Penning is a possibility, but I don't think that we're going to take him first just because we already signed a tackle, Morgan Moses, right tackle from Washington in the offseason. My understanding is we're rocking with him as a starting right tackle, at least to start. We'll see how he does in training camp and everything, but I think Morgan Moses is going to start. So drafting another tackle is not a bad idea, and I think we will draft a tackle at some point, but I don't think we should draft one first. I just don't think it's really necessary, and we have other glaring holes that we need to address. And of course, the first one is pass rush, no question, because we did literally nothing for the pass rush in free agency. We tried to, of course. Acquiring Za'Darius Smith would have helped a lot, but it fell through and we couldn't get the deal done. So we don't have Za'Darius Smith. So because that deal did not work out, we have done literally nothing to improve the pass rush. Edge rush is a big-time liability right now. Or I should say outside linebacker is a big-time liability. And Bowser and Oweh, I like both, and I think both will continue to get better and better. But they're also both coming back from injuries, from surgeries. What's new? Every player on the Ravens is coming back from that, it seems like. Bowser, of course, tore his Achilles in the last game, too, last year, so he may not be ready for the start of camp. However, I have heard that his rehab is actually going really, really smoothly, and he plans to be back by training camp. I'll believe it when I see it. A lot of times, the Ravens, undersell injuries, and they're more significant than they say, so we'll see what happens, but hopefully Bowser can come back, and hopefully Oweh can be back, too. But we'll see, and we can't bank on them to be back, and neither of them are elite pass rushers, at least as of now, and we need that big splash guy who can put up double-digit sack numbers, and we just don't have that right now. Bowser, again, solid, coming off his best year in the pass rush, 7.5 sacks I think he had. Oweh, as a rookie, flashed big time, but we can't bank on him to be our stud edge rusher for the next several years. He could be, but we can't assume that he's going to be, so we need an outside linebacker for sure. We just need pass rush in general. We also need defensive line. So we re-signed Calais Campbell to a 2-year deal. I like bringing him back. I don't know why we signed him to a multi-year deal, though, because Campbell is getting old. And I think, he mostly came back. He wants to win a ring before he retires. But I doubt he would stay for 2 more years with us. I don't really understand why we did that. I also kind of feel like it hurts the cap space. Well, actually, maybe not. I've heard that like 1-year deals are like more hurtful to cap space, but I don't really know why we signed him to a 2-year deal. I think a 1-year deal probably would have been a better idea, but I guess this means he'll be under contract for the next 2 years, and if he chooses to retire, he will, or if we choose to cut him, that's possible as well. Yeah, I don't mind bringing Calais Campbell back. I wouldn't have been shocked if we let him go, and I wouldn't have been really upset about it either. I'm kind of neutral, but I'm cool that we brought him back. Veteran presence. He is getting worse, but he's still a factor big time in the run game. His pass rush ability has dwindled big time, but he can still be a factor. He still is a factor, I should say, and I'm glad we have him back. But the defensive line is a big time question as well, and I definitely think we're going to address that. And that could be where we go first, interior defensive line. I already know who you guys are thinking of, and that's who I'm thinking of. Jordan Davis is another guy who's been linked to the Ravens quite a bit. So Jordan Davis is I think considered a nose tackle. He's a defensive tackle in general, interior guy, known for stopping the run. And I'm mixed on Jordan Davis. Now, I don't follow college football much, so I try not to sound uneducated here. But from what it sounds like, Jordan Davis is one of those guys who can stop the run, but he can't rush the passer. And if that's the case, it's the last thing I want to do. We are ready. I am so sick of us having defensive linemen who can stop the run but cannot rush the passer. We need to get linemen who can rush the passer as well as stop the run. We can't just have run stuffers. Brandon Williams, who is obviously not going to resign, I would think, so he's gone. But he was the same thing. Could not rush the passer. Michael Pierce can stop the run, cannot rush the passer. Derek Wolfe can stop the run, cannot rush the passer. Calais Campbell can stop the run, cannot rush the passer. It's the same thing. And, my hope last year in the offseason was Matabuke could be that guy. He could be the guy who could stop the run and rush the passer. And then in 2021, he was okay, but he still did not do great in the pass rush game. So I'm definitely not sold on him as our next really good interior pass rusher. And we have no pass rush, but we especially have no interior pass rush. And that's a big time issue. And not push the pocket from the inside. And, if you get edge pressure, cool. But if you're having no push up the middle, all the quarterbacks need to do is just step up for the most part. So we need pass rush big time. And Jordan Davis, despite him being a workhorse and being really good at stopping the run, can he evolve into a pass rusher too? I don't know. He's a freak athlete, I've heard. So, relying on our scheme and everything to develop him correctly is, not a bad idea. But at the same time, you got to make sure he fits the scheme. And, of course, we have a new defensive coordinator now in Mike Macdonald. I also heard that our scheme is going to be quite a bit different, which it would be. Don Martindale had a very interesting scheme, to say the least. And his, coaching style, his play style was very different and unique, I should say. Macdonald's obviously going to be at least somewhat different. How different? Really don't know. Remains to be seen. But hopefully Macdonald has a more favorable scheme for pass rushers, especially edge rushers, because for some reason, man, Martindale and edge rushers did not bond well together at all. We've talked about this in past videos. So hopefully Macdonald, as the new defensive coordinator, will help improve the pass rush, but we can't just rely on him, and we need to get more firepower. So Jordan Davis, I wouldn't be opposed to, because I do have hope that we can develop him into a pass rusher, but you can't bank on that. So I don't know. It really depends on where we think he stands. So just a couple other names here. Jermaine Johnson is an edge rusher. That was another guy who was linked to us. I'd be cool with that too. Jermaine Johnson would be solid. A guy who does have put up some sack numbers. And then I think it was Kayvon Thibodeaux. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I think he's considered a defensive end, so he's another guy who we could look out for. You just gotta make sure that they fit the scheme, and I think it's gonna look a little bit different this year because I think we're running a different scheme with Macdonald. So defensive ends might not necessarily be interior guys. So like Wolfe and Campbell were considered defensive ends, but they were on the interior. Meanwhile, in some schemes, defensive ends are the edge rushers, but our outside linebackers like Bowser and Owe are pass rushers. Bowser can play in coverage too, but they're used primarily as pass rushers. So it really depends on where they fit in the scheme and everything. But I'm all for defensive line. So I'm not going to complain if we draft Jordan Davis, despite me not wanting run stuffers who can't rush the passer. We do need more bodies, and there's still no guarantee that Wolfe comes back this year. I hope he does. I think we're planning on bringing him back, but he had hip surgery, I think, in the offseason. Never know how someone comes back from that, and we'll see if he can come back, because he just kept getting set back last year, and he never ended up coming back. So we'll see if he can actually come back. Of course, he had back problems. Back injuries are always such a pain, and sometimes they never really heal. So I hope he comes back. I've always been a big Derek Wolfe fan, but there's no guarantees that he does. So if Wolfe cannot come back, we're stuck. We have Matabuke, Campbell, and Michael Pierce as the main defensive line. And then we also, I think, have Broderick Washington and Isaiah Mack if we kept them both. But they're clearly not every down starters. So adding more defensive linemen is definitely a priority right now. We just got to make sure that they're the right guys and they can get some pass rush too. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think I'm really going to complain about anyone defensive line wise unless we take Trevor Penning. So I don't think we should take Penning at 14 if he's available. There's a chance that he goes before. It's unlikely, but it's possible. But if Davis, Johnson, and Penning are available, I would say we should take Davis or Johnson ahead of Penning. I just don't think Penning, has a high ceiling, but he also has a big bust potential with his certain play style. So I don't think that we should go tackle first. I think we should go pass rush first, defensive line first. That's clearly in need right now, and then probably draft offensive line later on in the draft. And guys, we will see what happens. I also think we're probably going to draft a running back later on too. We don't really know how Dobbins and Edwards are going to come back from their season-ending injuries. I've heard that the rehabs are going well, but again, you never know until they actually get back out on the field. So we will see what happens. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, maybe you should drop a like and subscribe if you are new. And I will see you guys next weekend with a draft recap of the Ravens. Hopefully we have a great draft, man, and let's get into it.